Hello everybody, welcome back for some StarCraft 2 action. We have SHIN going up against Classic on hardlet. This is of course still the Katowice qualifier, the closed portion of the Asia qualifier, and we have SHIN, the Zerg, that will have a very good performance in the main event, going up against Classic, who in our last video versus Raynor, which you should definitely go and check out, showed us a really cool Tempest build. Didn't always quite work out, but it showed so much promise. So I kind of hope that he pulls that one out again in this series as well. Of course, the best of 3, because it's a little bit earlier on into the closed qualifier. Not yet hitting those best of 5s. SHIN going for the standard opener, and Classic not doing that early scout, denying SHIN's hatchery. So SHIN just gets down the 16 hatch on the side of the map. Classic just doing his standard stuff. And so the deviations will have to come a little later. Now hard lead, I'm not sure whom's that favors. I kind of feel like it's decent for both sides. But as a Zerg, I feel like it's a little easy for Protoss to just get a bunch of bases up. Especially on this high ground, kind of like from your natural, stay in the high ground, take this as a 4th, take this as a 3rd. These 4 bases together feel really solid. Have a decent wall over here, position your army over here. But as a Zerg, I also feel like if you take this forward 3rd base, you get rid of these rocks, or you just spread creep over them, suddenly you have a really fast attacking path to really do some damage. But I feel like I haven't been seeing this map as much anymore. I feel like we were seeing it a lot more as kind of like a standardish map, but nowadays I feel like it's getting banned a little bit more often, at least in some of the other matchups, perhaps. One Adept already out on the map, scouting about, and of course nobody's surprised. Stargate in Zerg versus Protoss is on deck. Now let's see what Classic determines is the best course of action in order to win this game. SHIN not mining any more gas past the first 100 for speed. We'll be seeing a bunch of drones and queens coming out to make sure that he gets a good economy, and queens to make sure that oracles do not destroy that economy. And Classic going for the voidray opener. And he showed this versus Raynor as well. Love that he's still showing it, and he has a ton of builds behind this. He showed a Zealot all-in, just pure charged Zealots behind the one voidray opener. He showed the double Tempest build. He showed Oracle after voidray. And this time around it's Oracle after voidray. We see double gas going down. It might be a fake out, of course, but unlikely at this point. Let's see what Classic does with the next 100 gas. Makes a Twilight console. So gets a voidray, gets maybe an Oracle or 2, could still go into blink. Does throw down gateways before the 3rd base. Let's look at SHIN's side of the map. He's mining gas from 1 geyser so far. He's ready to receive any Oracle right now with Spore Crawlers in the main and the natural. And Queens at the 3rd base. Creep looking okay. Nice connection between the natural 3rd base. 415, the 3rd base of Classic is down. No additional Stargate units being created. And the Twilight console is done. What are we seeing? I see more Adepts, and yes, we see Glaives kind of coming up for those Adepts. Adepts are already kind of hiding back here. If you get here with a couple Zerglings, you're not going to see them, so SHIN is going to be surprised here by a couple Adepts being shaded on over into his base. And let's see if he can deal with that. 3rd base almost saturated for SHIN already. Lair halfway done. We see an extra gas coming out next to the Baneling Nest. So he's going for quick Bane speed here. No +1 melee though. So perhaps going to be seeing a Roach Warren rather soon. 3rd gas being added on as well. 4th gas. And let's see, what is Classic doing? Not producing a lot of probes. Yeah. Starting to produce probes for the third now, but not super saturating his natural at all. Guess super saturating that one gas. Now we see a bunch more adepts coming out. Look at how many adepts he has saved up. 12 adepts rolling on out. But SHIN is feeling something in the water, because he's making a bunch of banelings and zerglings. He sees the adepts coming out, even though I feel like he hasn't seen jack shit. No, okay, let's look at the attack here. Adepts in the natural here. Banelings do get on top of the adepts, and all of these links soak in the damage. Not a lot of drone losses yet, but a lot of links is not a lot of drones. And now the adepts are in the main base, killing more drones, and now we see some drone losses coming in. 6 drones already down, and more of them are also in the third, so they have been split off. Storm is now underway for Classic, but will it come into play at all? We've already seen 15 drones go down so far, and more are going down. Oh my god, Shades might even end up in the main. Yes, they do. And that might even be more drone kills. And if you're SHIN right now, I mean, your heart just sank to the bottom of your physique. You see Hydra Range coming out, and SHIN... GG's out as Classic, just slaps him down with the surprise adepts. And we had a quick one there in game number 1. Classic taking down SHIN with a very fast glaive adept all in behind his, well, now patented voidray opener. And SHIN looked to be decently ready for it, but there were probably a few more adepts than he was counting on. And SHIN could not quite defend his drone lines. It looked to be okay for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, well, the cascading problems just destroyed SHIN's hopes and dreams, losing like 20 to 30 drones in a matter of seconds. And now, in the second game, Classic sending out that early probe, blocking the hatchery of SHIN, but also being sure to note if there is any type of gold base. Classic on the other side of the map, just doing his thing. Of course, we saw Hero versus Dark on this map as well, and Dark, instead of making his second base at this location, he actually built it at the gold, and Hero reactively cannon rushed it. And that ended up spiraling in a crazy, scrappy game. But SHIN just going for his third base over here. I do like this one a lot, because if you have a queen over here, it really helps defend this mineral line. And the creep isn't that far. It's the same as Oceanborn, basically. This is a little bit less so on Oceanborn. It's even closer. But I like it a lot. If you happen to get creep here anyways, or you just notice where the oracle's kind of going, you can have a queen here, and it's so effective at dealing with these oracles in some positions. Now Overlord flying on over and sees the front of Classic's bases. Probe getting attacked here. Kind of interesting how all of these Korean players are playing with the Diva announcer. We see an Adept, and we see a Stargate. Adept being chrono boosted out here. And of course, Oracles and Adepts are your friends when you want to occupy this area. Making sure that no drones can come to this natural base unless dealt with properly by the Zerg player. And SHIN going for that third base, which we will call his natural from now on. Queen putting down a tumor right away, so SHIN really committing to getting that creep out here, making sure that he can defend against Adepts camping his center area. And of course defend against Oracles that want to do the same. Queen already getting in a couple pop shots onto this Adept. And it's actually patrolling here. Look at that. Shade does get in, but no more drones from the main base can come in. Lots of larvae there just chilling. Even making an Overlord from the natural. Small mistake. Should have made it from the main. I feel like in like a year or two from now, we're going to be talking all about that. Where do you make which unit from which hatchery at what moment? Because right now you just press your hatchery hockey, you press larva. Oh, one drone goes down. Secondary drone goes down, third as well. Oh my god, 4 drones for these adepts. That is not too shabby, and the adept does not get out. Let's see, he's getting an oracle behind his voidray again. I like this from Classic, but he showed the Tempest build on this map. Oh, he's not showing it again. He's going for the Twilight console. Maybe he's just going for the same build once more. Doesn't have a third base yet. Doesn't have enough adepts for that because, of course, he sacrificed them. So nice move by SHIN using his extra amount of Zerglings to shut this down. But going back to the production, like right now you usually just, you press 5 or 4 or whatever your hatcheries are on. You press S to select all of your larvae and then you just go drones. Or you go Zerglings. And you don't really care where they come from. But in these specific scenarios where your bases are cut off, I feel like it's so important to make sure that if this base isn't saturated, make the drones here. Don't make them over there. Lair coming out and a Roach Warren coming out from SHIN. So a bit of a different response. Whereas Classic going for that Glaive Adept once again, pulling up the Adept numbers once more. Feels like SHIN didn't do a very good job of defending at all last game. Ooh, this gas is not saturated. Might be on purpose though. Because I didn't check last game if all gases were actually saturated. One adept and a voidray moving out to the Selnaga. The Selnaga is very important for SHIN to perhaps get an early warning of these adepts. But, oh my god, we see Overlord speed. So we might be seeing some type of taxi build. We do see 5 gases here. So it's just going to be mass roaches with, I mean, look at the amount of overlords. Look at the oversupply. He's making lots of roaches. He probably wants to go for an attack here with the queens inside some of these overlords. Dropper lords. Not making them, though. So just kind of preparing to not die. And then the adepts just come out. And so now SHIN is just in full defensive alert. But this time around, Classic, I mean, he has a bunch of roaches. This is not the Ling Baneling that he showed last game. He's a lot more prepared to receive your adepts right now. 9 drones do go down, but oh my god, the adepts were slaughtered in the natural there. More drones being targeted down by Classic. Nice job. 15 drones, and SHIN is now sitting on 37 drones in total. And, I mean, it's hard to come back from. More adepts streaming on in to the natural and third base of SHIN. More drones. Like, he just made 5 drones. Boom. Those are gone again. And now we see the 2 dropper lords coming out. The queens are pulled off the line. And SHIN is shipping it. Do see this one oracle putting down a stasis ward as well. 21 drones have been killed. 25 in total. And I mean, this is kind of a Hail Mary for SHIN here. And the Overlord is going to spot it right away. Or voidray is going to spot the Overlords moving out. Transfuse onto the Dropper Lord. Lots of damage being done onto that Overlord. One queen didn't quite get picked up, but they went back for her. And now SHIN is moving out with the Ravager Ling Force that he has. How much gas is he actually mining? He's not mining any gas at all. Just Ling reinforcements. And queens are being dropped. They are at the third base. Lots of shield batteries already here from Classic. Can he hold on here? We do have the Voidray, but this is a lot of queens. We can see some transfuses as well. More Lings streaming on in. We do have the Stalkers. They don't have Blink yet. And the nuclear battery was dealt with very swiftly. And, well, Classic seems to be holding on to his third base here. Doesn't look too good for SHIN. How many Ravagers do we have left? Only 6 Ravagers. But a lot of probes going down in the third base now. Probes were not evacuated. That's 16 probes dead. I feel like if SHIN kills the third base and drones behind it, he can just play a macro game from here. But the Queens and the Ravagers standing strong here. Good combination of units. More Lings coming in, and SHIN actually moving on to building a couple drones. And Classic actually only has a couple Stalkers left. His Voidray did end up dying to the Queens. And I mean, he's making zealots here. I feel like you would want to make adepts there. You have the resonant glaives. Upgrade. Another nuclear battery comes down, but the third base is nuked down by the Ravager corrosive biles. All of these lings did die. Lots and lots of lings. More than 100 lings have been sacrificed for the cause. The Overmind sent them into their doom, but the result is definitely there. At SHIN, I mean, his forces have been thinned out now. Only 5 Ravagers are left, but they do get to retreat. Except for the last one. These Stalkers. Oh my god, the Oracle as well. I was about to say, like, if all of these expensive Ravagers get to just walk away from there, that's a big dub for SHIN. On top of course, I mean, killing third base. The creep is actually blocking the third base here. Dude. That's so annoying for Classic. He does not have detection. Although he does have 2 Oracles, apparently. So he does have detection. No observers, though. Ooh, another drop. Oh, it's an Overseer, actually. It's like, oh, maybe he's going to do a drop. But no, it's an Overseer. Third base is now going down. And this game kind of equalized. I feel like SHIN is actually kind of ahead. He does have, of course, his 3 bases. He does have 60 drones and more coming in. He has Hydralisks and +1 coming in. So he is transitioning into a macro game here. And from Classic, I am not sure what he's trying to do. He's getting Storm. He's building his third base, but he's also a little sad that his main base is already halfway mined out. Lots of his probes are just long distance mining. I feel like you'd rather have 24 out of 16 on your natural right now. But then your natural mines out faster. I don't know. Somebody do the math. Infestation Pit and Lurker Den coming out. Oh my god, SHIN. Just exploding on tech here, getting a 4th base onto the gold base, making a 5th base as well. Dude, what the hell? He's just doing everything. He's like, yeah, Classic can't do anything. Well, we have 8 High Templar here with Storm. I feel like those can do something. Your Lurker Den, your Infestation Pit, your 2 hatcheries, they're all gonna do nothing if Classic moves out here to attack, but looks to be just, well, not a fake attack, but just an attack. Just a move out to secure the Solnaga Tower. And then probe behind it, getting a robo behind it as well. Natural now starting to mine out as well. Classic basically needs a 4th base already. Losing that 3rd base, so crucial. Now SHIN, ooh, has a gold base, baby. 12 drones on that right away. Mining out all of the blue minerals as well, making sure that he can't get choked up while trying to defend his 5th. And I don't know, Classic kind of needs to do something here. He's not taking a 4th base. Oh my god, the Lurkers are already here. We have 7 Lurkers in a defensive position. And Classic has Storm. And I mean, Storm is very good. But Storm is not the Lurker counter. Classic trying to take a 4th base. But there is a Dropper Lord dropping creep instead of a Baneling, Zerglings, or Queens in this game. Probe gets taken down as well, further delaying this 4th in a way. And this is kind of starting to look hopeless for Classic. I don't know about the Storm. I think the Storm would have been pretty good if SHIN was going for like a Ling, Baneling, Roach Ravager type composition and perhaps trying to be more aggressive. But instead, he's just digging in. 12 Lurkers on deck. Hive is done. Lurker range probably about to start. Yep, there it goes. And Classic goes into the fleetbeacon second Stargate. Knows that, well, you have defensive prowess, but I also have it with my full energy High Templar. So, I think if Classic manages to turtle up here, he has a pretty good shot at getting a good foothold into this game. But for now, he's on 140 supply. SHIN maxing out, getting a Nidus Worm as well. That's going to be very annoying to deal with when that Nidus Worm is in your natural or in your main whilst being attacked at your 4th base. Or at the center of your bases. At your center. I'm just gonna call this your center. Kind of like when you're meditating, it's like, center yourself. Nidus Worm going up in the main base. We do see one Zealot coming out and a recall here, making sure that this Nidus Worm can't do anything. Classic was moving out on the map, but that was quickly thwarted by the singular Nidus. Secondary going up. We have one stage ward immediately going down to a couple links there. Now we do have 4 cannons already kind of signaling that Classic is digging on in. Same as SHIN here. Actually, some lurkers come out in the back of this base, and that gives SHIN an opportunity to just move out. All of these lurkers did get bunched up a little bit, but still lurkers in the back and in the front, just a big lurker sandwich. And that's not a move they taught at the academy, but it is definitely looking to be effective here for SHIN. Classic still struggling with his supply, but it's mostly in the workers now. His army supply is actually quite decent. And we have 5, 6 immortals here ready to deal with the lurkers, but his army is so bunched up here. Oh, that's such a difficult position. Like, do you move into the lurker spines to kind of unclump all of your units, yes or no? But in the meanwhile, we have another Nidus going up from SHIN in the natural base of Classic. And this is going to be the second base of Classic that will fall this game. It gets clicked down by SHIN. And 17 probes died, 39 probes remaining for Classic. And SHIN just shouting from the rooftops. Like, how do you like it now? How do you like it when you lose all of your workers? Doesn't feel so nice now, does it? Classic, actually only 5 High Templar left. No storms available right now. And, I mean, he barely holds on to his natural, but his 4th base doesn't even have probes on it. That's how little probes Classic has left, and he's long distance mining to his own natural right now. Pulls away all of the probes from the 4th base, knowing that he can't hold that right now. 90 supply for Classic, 39 probes. Just trying to get a critical mass of carriers. But the Spire does already finish for SHIN. More lurkers are finishing up. We see spore crawlers coming out, and we're probably going to be seeing some Viper Corruptor action as well. And this is the last leash on life that Classic has. It's the carrier. And with 2 more carriers coming out, I would not be surprised if Classic goes for a super all-in attack with the carriers, just kind of hoping that SHIN can't deal with it. Like, carriers are kind of difficult to deal with if you only have Hydras, for example. But we see 10 Corruptors coming out. We see +1 attack. And I mean, if Classic turtles up, he will get pulled apart. Not very slowly, but very surely. SHIN now on, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases in total. Mining from most of them as well. Except for the main base, of course. That one is kind of running dry. But I mean, SHIN is just kind of playing with his food right now. It's like, you haven't rebuilt your natural. Interesting. It's worth it. Kind of. It has about 1,500 minerals left. So you can invest the 400 Nexus to get those minerals. But I guess you could also long distance mine them, then you don't have to invest the 400 minerals. So maybe because you don't have to do the upfront investment, it might be a better cash flow? I don't know. Somebody do the math. Nidus Worm's going down. Making sure that Classic becomes very afraid. Probe goes out to maybe take a base here, but there's another Overlord there. And SHIN just building the perfect army here. How many lurkers do we have? We have 10 lurkers, 5 more underway. We have 21 corruptors. You heard that right. 21 corruptors against 5 carriers. 2 more underway, and this is actually looking like this game might go a little longer. Classic is kind of being allowed to take this gold base here by SHIN. And it looks like SHIN just doesn't give a damn. He's good playing it super safe. This is, I think, the life of SHIN in this qualifier right now. Because I believe this is the lower bracket. Oh my god. That's a lot of lurker boys. If you see that, you're like, what? Oh god. That is not cool. It's like in Pacific Rim, if you are on top of the wall, you're like, oh no. That's a big boy. Well, this is a lot of lurkers. A big minefield. And the lurkers are just inching forward like siege tanks here. Corruptors looking for an angle to just click down the carriers, not eat too many storms. And look at how inefficient SHIN can trade, and it's not even inefficient. He just killed almost all of the Immortals with this big lurker arc. The Immortals leapt or walked a little bit too far forward. And Classic just struggling for an answer here. The Corruptors do get stormed down and whittled down. Slowly but surely, but 14 more Corruptors are on their way. Plus 2 heirs in their way. I'm surprised he doesn't have a second Spire at this point. And he's just looking for another pick. Like, he needs 2 autos from all of these Corruptors on top of a carrier. We have 6 carriers left right now. Voidrays being added on in, because Classic is just broke as a joke. And Voidrays, in theory, are better with dealing with the Corruptors. Less expensive, but yeah, I mean... Do I need to elaborate that Classic has been dead for the last 10 minutes? And SHIN is making sure that all of the bolts are put into the coffin properly here for Classic. Classic. Dead man walking on 86 supply, whilst 21 Hydras and an Ultralisk Den are being produced. No additional base has been taken by Classic. And I mean, yeah, he's just committed to long-distance mining from his own natural. So he has 1.5 bases versus the conglomerate that is SHIN on the other side of the map. 8 more lurkers are being produced. Chitinous plating is coming out. Plus 3 carapace is coming out. Plus 1 melee as well. SHIN is just maxing out once more. And wouldn't surprise me if he just throws another kitchen sink at Classic. No finesse, all economy. Here come the Lurker Hydra together with the Corruptor Viper. And SHIN still taking it slowly. Cancels another gold base attempt by Classic. Doubling the supply of Classic. Doubling the army supply almost. Gets a decent storm onto the Hydras. But now gets to bait in the army into the Lurkers. Gets some yoinks. And, I mean, where are the carriers? Oh, they all died. Never mind. They all died in the last fight. Classic is literally dead. He's just playing the game because he can. And just like Idris said, just because you can stay in the game doesn't mean you should. Oh my god, Classic, dude. This might just be a stamina play, bro. Might just be a big stamina play. Like, I got a game 3. I'm gonna make you tired. SHIN takes game number 2. And here we are in game number 3. Classic destroying SHIN in quick fashion in game number 1. And then SHIN doing a pretty decent job of winning game number 2, but man, was it slow. Classic was doing his best zombie impression, playing from his coffin for most of that game. I'll make the joke once again, he's kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh player, playing from his graveyard. SHIN going for 16 hatch again. Did he do the extractor trick? Or no, he did not. What? I'm so confused. He did not extract a trick, but he did go for... He did drone up to 14. Okay. Maybe I was... Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm pretty sure he made drones up to 14 and then he made an Overlord. Which, that means you should extract a trick. But he didn't. You don't get anything from that. I think that's just nerfs coming into play here. Both players have their tournament life on the line here, or their qualifier life on the line. I think if you lose this best of 3, you're out of the qualifiers, and you can try again in the other regions, as we saw Classic do, for example. And a lot of players played in multiple qualifiers at the same time, just to maximize your chances of getting into Katowice, one of the biggest prize pools of the year, and should have been the World Finals, of course. Kind of is, in my honest opinion. But we, of course, have the, what is it? The thing. Some, world, championship somewhere. I mean, I just don't want to say it. I don't really want to promote it. We see speed coming out from SHIN. Is he gonna pull off gas? He's fully pulling out of gas. It's kind of a toss-up for the most Zergs if they leave one in or they pull all of them out. If you leave one in, it helps you time out your builds pretty nicely. Like, as soon as you have 100 gas off of one drone, you can then resaturate it, make your lair, or get your Evo chamber at 80, or something like that. It just times stuff out really nicely, but it is less economical, unless you really want to get some... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's always more economical to put all the drones on minerals, make more drones, and then put more guys on gas later. But there's something elegant about the one drone on gas timings. Oh my, what the hell is this? I feel like SHIN is the most nervous person ever. If I look at this play so far, I feel like he's making a lot of like jittery clicks, because this is not what you want, right? He's like just moving all over the place. Adepts in the natural though. Take down a drone, take down a secondary drone. No shades are out. Now the shades go out. Little late here by Classic. The shade was off cooldown for a bit there already. Only 2 drone kills. And I feel like that is not a good start for Classic. We do see an Oracle coming out, actually. And he just flies on into the natural, dude. What? Just full terrorist mode. Just psychopath mode. 4 drones are dead. But that's a whole lot of hull damage on this Oracle. And secondary Oracle does come out. Third base now coming down for Classic. So he's going for a pretty standard build. I would be surprised to see the Tempest build on this map, but I would welcome it. He does kind of have money for it. And he does go for the fleet beacon. Oh no, he cancels it. No! No! Oh, SHIN, why did you have to scout? Never mind, he rebuilds it in the back. Yes, Classic is committed to the fleet beacon, builds a secondary Stargate, and he's going to build some goddamn Tempest, baby. He will go out swinging with his Tempest build. If he makes, like, Phoenix or voidrays or... If he makes any other Stargate unit, I would be sad. But also, it is cool, because that means the build that he's doing is even more versatile than I already thought it is. Let's see, baby. Let's see. Shield batteries coming out. We see some links. Let's see what SHIN is going to be doing. We see +1 melee coming out. No lair just yet from SHIN. He does see the third base coming up. Oh my god. Carriers. Classic is going for the carrier push. He's sending them straight across the map. Straight towards where? Where is he going with these? Let me select. Where are the lines going? He's going to this area. So he's making carriers right now instead of the Tempest. Okay. We've seen a bunch of 4 carrier pushes on this channel in the last few weeks. We, of course, saw the 4 carrier push into standard play from... Oof. I'm sad that I've forgotten. I think it was maybe... I want to say Estrella? I know Estrella rushed carriers versus Lambo on this map. We saw Hydra do 4 carrier into an Adept Glaive all-in versus Mixu. And we saw one other Protoss player go for 4 carriers and then transition back into a Stalker core. I want to say it's Estrella, but honestly, I'm not sure. It is out on my channel. You can go look it up. I think it's called, like, 4 carrier push into ground or something is the title. We see these 2 carriers now out on the map. SHIN, of course, has seen them, but he has a lot of links with +1, which are pretty spooky. Now, these 2 carriers are just kind of flying around, but this is a lot of queens. Look at that. We have 9 queens on deck right now. 8 ready to defend, and 8 queens is enough for 2 carriers. No more carriers being added on. This is a complete... I think it's red herring. Is that a correct use of red herring? Oh my god. Almost gets a singular drone kill, but does not. 8 drones been killed in total this game, and that's a lot of lings. Moving on into the base of Classic here, but Classic completely ready for it. Wants to get a 4th base, but SHIN does spot it out. Classic floating a lot of money here, and he's getting Storm once again. He's getting High Templar. We see an Infestation Pit and Spire almost done. Hydralisks, lots of Hydralisks being created. And SHIN doing a really good job of scouting whether Classic is committing to more air units, yes or no. And he doesn't know that there's like 7 gateways here with +1 and Blink and Storm. But he does see the army. And he sees that there are no extra carriers being built, so he's not committing to the Spire. He's not committing to the Corruptors, because that is what Classic is hoping for. He's trying to trick him, basically. But SHIN is on top of things. He's not getting tricked. But Classic does seem to be pretty comfortable here on 4 bases. He has infrastructure for more carriers. He has a lot of Blink Stalkers. And he has Storm. I think that's comfortable for our Protoss player here. SHIN only now thinking about a 4th or 5th and 6th base perhaps, but he's exploding into the upgrades, even going for Roach Burrow. Can you believe it? Roach Burrow. If that comes into play, this man is a genius. Just burrowing over 4 roaches into each mineral line. There is 1 cannon in the 3rd base, but not in the main and not in the natural. It would actually be kind of Gigabrain. Is there an observer? No, there's not. There is a robo, though. We see more carriers coming out as well. No +1 air attack, which is a little weird. If you want to make more carriers, you want to make some +1 air attack. Listen to Roddy. He's done extensive research with all of the Protosses on the ladder. Hive now completing. +1 range coming out as well. 9 Lurker Boys here for SHIN coming out. SHIN, again, no problems playing it slow with Classic here. Losing a couple links here, but gaining valuable scouting information. Sees the exact army of Classic and can adapt his final max to what he just saw. We see extra carriers now are out. And let's look at the army. We see 6 Hydralisks, 9 Queens. But we also see +1 air attack, so if at some point he's like, oh, that's more carriers than I thought it would be, he can explode into Corruptors as well. And Classic now moving on to Creep with 100 army supply. There is a little link run by here at the 4th base, but he is holding. Classic. A little bit too pussy to go and attack, just trying to deny a potential base over there. And I mean, how do you attack into all of these lurkers? More lings going out onto for an adventure. No adrenal glands would be a nice addition. And these lings trying to get some value, but SHIN is shaving off a little bit of his ling force here, opening up a little bit of supply to get important units like these Vipers out onto the map. +2 air attack coming out again. And now we do see +1 air attack finally starting up for Classic. We see +2 attack as well. I mean, at this point, I feel like you should just take a 5th base, get another forge, get some shield upgrades, and play a longer game, because you're not killing SHIN here, I feel like. Because SHIN was not stuck on some shit army. He didn't make like 40 roaches, anticipating a dumb attack. Like, he went straight into Hydra Ling and then Lurker. And as you can see, these links are paying for themselves. So all of SHIN's supply is basically efficiently spent. Now, Sporecolor's coming down. SHIN digging his heels into the sand. He's like, I am not losing my qualifier spot to some carrier noob. Secondary Cybercore coming out. And a secondary Forge coming out. More Stargates coming out. Yes, classic. Takes a 5th base. He's going for the long game. I want to see a mothership. I want to see shield batteries. I want to see cannons. I want to see some Stasis Wars. I want to see High Templar at every base. And maybe even some Disruptors as well. You just want to make this Zerg cry. You just want to make him sad. And we're only 12 minutes into the game. And we're already playing the psychological game. Both players going real fast from mid-game to late game. And soon to be the super late game. Okay, we're not calling it Supreme anymore. We're calling it Super. That is more correct. Oh my god, these Lurkers killing a bunch of these Stalkers, but I don't think Classic really cares. Because he can now remax onto bigger, better units. With the mothership. Where's it being produced? In the main base. And we see Carrier, or Tempest coming out as well. With the Carrier attack, or Building attack upgrade. Which is Tectonic Destabilizers. But I feel like it's better as a caster just to call it what it does. Like, Hydralisk Speed has a name, but it doesn't really matter. Same as Ultralisk Armor, like it's called Kindness Plating. But Ultralisk Armor is just more descriptive. And somebody that doesn't watch the game every week or every day like I do, I feel like it's just better to just call it Ultralisk Armor. Call it Tempest Building Damage. Just a descriptive. And if it has a cool name, you can drop it if you want to sound smart. It of course does help with the setting. And the excitement of the sci-fi setting that we do have. You know, the Marines with their Gauss rifles. Parasite bombs. SHIN is sieging down this 5th base though, and actually Classic just gives it up wholesale. Tempest going into his own doom, and what a recall into his third. That's a recall of like 5 meters. That was, these Corruptors were like, oh, you're over there. And all of the carriers that Classic built one by one have been destroyed. This Tempest is going to go down to this Queen. Let the Queen get the kill. No! Kill steal. I mean, kill secure. Kill secured. See another base going down for Classic, but I mean, SHIN already proved to Classic in the last game that he can beat him in the late game from ahead very convincingly, and Classic now from kind of an even position is not doing a very good job at staying alive or playing this specific style of Turtle Protoss. Gets his 5th base killed, gets his mothership killed, all of his expensive air units get caught out, and one by one, all of his units. Oh my god, these Corruptors just gaining so much value. I feel like if he stopped producing air units like 4 units ago and made... Oh my god, this is a lot of Immortals, but I feel like these should be Disruptors. Classic's answer to the Lurker is these Immortals, and let's see how good that answer is. Doing a lot of damage to the Lurkers though. Mad mode. Dude, Classic's chin is humongous. The testosterone is flowing through all of his veins. The Chad mode is engaged. And the Immortals just walked into the Lurker line and demolished it. And now just making more Immortals. 9 Immortals on the field. And now Classic completely transitioning into a ground-based army. And SHIN has 14 Corruptors that are literally dead weights right now. They can't do anything. I mean, they can go look for that one War Prism. Classic blinks on into the center of SHIN's bases. And Classic wants to end it right here, right now. standing on top of the throat of Classic, but Shin does have a lot of muscles there. He has a lot of neck muscles. 15 drones do go down, 16 go down, and the Hydralisk move across the map. 24 Hydralisk, 9 Broodlords being morphed in. That's a very nice move by Shin, using all of these useless Corruptors and making them into units that Classic can actually not deal with. And no, he didn't see them. And now he moves away from the Broodlords, kills that hatchery, and recalls into his natural, and saves his natural. So, I mean, that's a snap decision as Classic. You either need to move on top of the Broodlords, storm them to the Nether Realm, like 2 smithereens, basically. Or you move towards the base, you snipe it, and you go for the instantaneous recall. Tempest coming out to deal with the Broodlord like they were intended in Heart of the Swarm. We're finally seeing it after 9 years of waiting. And Storm's going down onto the Broodlords. These Tempests are F2'd back. These boys need to attack, but the Corruptors are here to deal with a couple of these Tempests. Oh no, these Tempests could have had so much more value if they started attacking earlier. Now, Classic is kind of holed up into his third base here. We don't have any more shield batteries. More Tempests coming out. Nice Storms going down onto the army, keeping the High Templar alive for as long as possible. Nuclear battery does come out, but it can get clicked down right away by Classic, or Shin actually ignoring it. And the Tempest here on the high ground, gaining that value. Couple Stalkers here in the back. Classic holding on for dear life. But there's also Infestors, there's Broodlords. This is Wings of Liberty, baby. But better. And these Tempests, I feel like they could help Classic survive here. It's on a knife's edge, though. He's losing probes as well. Tempest going down. Oh no, I think he's dead, boys. I think he's dead. 1 or 2 more Tempest here on the back line, and you can suddenly, as Zerg, really overcommit here, losing more units every time a volley of Tempest balls does go out. I don't know, I just really love the Tempest design. It's such a cool unit. It's just cool. What's not cool is that Classic's stuck on 45 probes, does not have this 5th base. It got cancelled by this one lurker that is still being annoying. Wow, this probe taking the most safe path imaginable. And Shin, slowly but surely, 71 drones, so it's not that slowly, remaxing and ready to challenge Classic's center once again. Nice Storms going down onto the entire Zerg army, but there's just not enough Protoss here to hold that position. And Shin just walks up the ramp, even though we know that is kind of illegal to walk up a ramp into a superior army. This was not a superior army, and Shin, the superior player in this series, takes that game, and with that, this series versus Classic 2-1. Some shines of brilliancy there from Classic, but he's definitely not back into his old form. The class is there from Classic, haha, but not his form. Shin look pretty darn solid. Every time Classic was like, okay, I'm gonna make the invincible composition. I'm gonna be unfair. Shin was like, I'm taking the whole base. I'm making 80 drones. I'm making all of my upgrades. I'm making the best units, and then I have more stuff than you. And then I abuse you for the rest of the game. I'm just going to choke you out like a cobra, slowly but surely. And every time I say slowly but surely, it doesn't happen slowly. Shin just walks on in, burrows all of his lurkers, and kills a base. And I'm like, wait, what? Classic is supposed to be in position there, have the Immortals and the High Templar and the air units ready to shoot those lurkers as soon as they want to get forward, so you have to, like, commit your Corruptors and your Hiders and your Vipers first before you can finally move the lurkers forward, and then none of that has to happen. Classic just, I think, slightly out of position in those situations. And then, as soon as you, in this game, for example, lose that base that you are basically turtling on, you just kind of get slept down. Like, Shin with the back of the hand, like, bam, the flam, get out of here. It's not your map. And then Classic just kind of, like, scrambling back to his center. It's like, well, now you are on 4 base, getting, like, all of the upgrades, and you have, like, 4 stargates that you can't even produce out of anymore. You're not maxed. And SHIN just has everything. Classic did do a couple good moves. I feel like as soon as he lost all of his carriers, he had a very nice transition into like ground-based units. And then I think SHIN's answer with the pseudo base race into Brood Lords as well was also really strong. I like that back and forth where you can see that both players changed up their army composition multiple times to try and combat the situation and their opponent's army. But SHIN, yeah, just kind of outclassing Classic here in this series. Guys, thank you for listening to my rambling. I hope you enjoyed the games, even though they were a little bit one-sided. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a nice day. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.